Welcome to the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Matthew Briggs. Sam is locked away on house arrest, so she cannot make it. Eating her delicious rat for Easter Sunday. So, guys, thank you for showing up and watching us this fine holiday. With me today, I got some special guys, but let me tell you why we're here. Each week we're doing a draft special, and today is the Colts. We're going in order, so it's going to be the suckiest team in the division. Whoop, whoop, yeah, so the Colts. So let me start off with the Colts. Introducing our Colts commentator, Mr. Haris Nukala. You're on mute there, buddy.
Welcome to the Cellar Dwellers, the Indianapolis of awesome shittiness.
I hope it's for years. And introducing the champion of the division, the Jaguars, Matthew Grieve.
Listen, I'll tell you all, it's nice not to have to worry about winning the offseason for once.
That's a little different for you, huh? You don't know what to do. You're like Ricky Bobby. You don't know what to do with your hands, you know?
Do with my hand.
Yeah. And introducing the Mayo Eater of the Week, we got Mr. Morocco Taylor from the Titans Coliseum.
Yeah, man, I knew the Mayo joke was coming, but real joke is every other team in this division, even though the Titans are number 2, man, we know Jacksonville can't sustain winning. Texans, they still sit back for another 7 years. The Colts are down the same path. So, hey, man, tighten up, y'all.
Well, I appreciate you mentioning the Texans. Introducing the Texans, the team that beat the Tennessee Titans this year. We got Mr. BT from the Texans Fan Battle.
What's going on, guys? We are the winners of the offseason, so I'm ready to see what the fuck we're going to do.
There you go. All right. Well, fellas, like I said, we're here for because it's the greatest month in football besides the actual season. It's draft month. Everybody's getting those mock drafts. Everybody's playing some Madden, making some stupid-ass trades. And, you know, I seen a mock draft where it had the Texans trading their number 1 pick for Devontae Adams and getting a 2 out of it. Like, I seen some crazy – like, oh yeah, we can do this. Yeah, I'm Madden. That's stupid. Like, but all right, guys. Well, ESPN has listed this as the needs for the Indianapolis Colts. Haris, you're our specialist, so I'll let you. Did they get it right, or does a couple of things need to be switched or replaced?
No, this is pretty accurate. I think maybe the order of necessity is probably a little bit different. Obviously, quarterback's number 1, right? Tackle, you can argue offensive tackle. Now, there's a lot of questions here, right? Is Ryman the guy at left tackle? I don't know. Could you pop him to left tackle? Maybe. Do you move Braden Smith back to right guard, which is his natural position, and then draft a tackle? I think that's a smart thing to do. Cornerback, obviously, with Gilly gone, you need to bring in another corner. We'll see what Bargain Bin Ballard can do in the bargain bin. That's like his thing because he doesn't know how to sign anybody to save his damn life. Edge, we definitely do need. We've got Kwity Paye. He can't stay healthy, but he's shown that he can play. We need a guy opposite of him. Tyquan Lewis is good, but he can't stay healthy. So you really need to find that other edge rusher,
Mm-hmm.
And then receiver. I can argue we don't even have a number 1 receiver, so I would have been a little bit more aggressive in receiving, but there's nobody out there in free agency. Can you find a number 1 receiver? Maybe if you maybe take that 2nd and 3rd round pick, bundle it up, move back up into the 2nd. If Quentin Johnson is there, I heard he's falling down draft boards right now. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what the answer is at receiver, but yeah, we definitely need a number 2, we need a number 1, or something to complement Michael Pittman Jr.
Okay. Well, Morocco, y'all finally beat the Tennessee Titans, the Indianapolis Colts finally without Andrew Luck here the last couple of years. So let me ask you, does this board look correct, or what would you do?
I mean, to me, yeah. I mean, they picking four, man. They gonna have to go ahead and get their guy, man. I mean, the carousel been going on way too long, and if they keep on hopping on their carousel, man, they gonna get exactly what they've been getting for the last few years. So yeah, I agree. Number one, they gotta go get their quarterback, and two, offensive tackle. I mean, they had some problems last year out of their offensive line. They didn't have the Titans problems, but it was pretty rough for them. And as far as cornerback goes, they lost Gilmore. Yeah, they lost Gilmore. I almost forgot about him for a second, man. He didn't do bad with the Colts this year, but it was a chance to trade him, so they made the move. They got something for him, so they gotta get another guy on the outside, edge rusher. Pretty much the same thing with the offensive tackle. I mean, it wasn't the Titans' problems, I don't think, because our pass rush became non-existent on the back half of the season. But they definitely need edge rusher and wide receiver. They could use another wide receiver. And I say they could use a slot wide receiver. I mean, how they're set up right now at wide receiver. I mean, got Michael Pittman, you got
Alex Pierce.
Alec, yeah, you got Pierce. So I think those dudes will be okay on the outside. They can get a guy in the slot, and they can just stay in the slot. And it would be great if that guy could play on the outside as well. But just a legit slot guy, I mean, they'll be cool.
Somebody like they wish like Paris Campbell would be. Like Paris Campbell could have been that slot guy, but couldn't stay on the field to be that guy. So I can see that. BT, we almost swept him this year. I don't know how. I think he did it on purpose. That last play, I don't know how that ball went through that defender's hands, but I think he did it on purpose. But what do you think about this? Do you think it's correct?
Yeah, I think this is correct. And I mean, you just mentioned it, but I mean, we were a pretty bad team, and the Colts couldn't beat us. Yeah, we tied that first game, but you didn't beat us, guys. So no. So we beat you the second time. We could say whether that was bad or good, mostly bad, but still we beat you. So you guys need a quarterback. I think that's without a question. The real question there is, what quarterback are you going to get? Because we don't know what Carolina is going to do. If Carolina goes Stroud and we go Bryce, I think you guys might get AR, and that's probably the only fear that I have, because I don't want you guys to get AR, because I think Shane can do a number with that. The only thing that you guys have going for you right now is Jonathan Taylor and Shane Steichen. And so if you have AR, you guys could do something with that. But I agree with this list. I'll also say that there's a bunch of late round receivers, which I think you guys might take advantage of. Edge, I don't know if you guys will be able to grab an edge depending on where you're picking, and because I think you might take a corner in the second round. I don't know if you're going to be able to solve edge here, but I think you should be able to get your quarterback and your cornerback in this draft class.
All right. Last but not least, Matt Green. I mean, you always beat him at Jacksonville, so I mean, you should know what they need, right?
What they don't need is another 38-year-old quarterback. But as far as that list goes, I think starting off with number one at quarterback, any team that doesn't have their set quarterback of the future, that's always going to be number one. After that, I don't really know how Ballard works. I know that Harish says his name a lot of times in an angry manner. So I'm not sure. I don't understand how Ballard works. I don't know how that list is going to play out. But I think after quarterback, I think there was offensive tackle,
tackle, edge,
quarterback, edge, wide receiver. So I mean that you can almost copy and paste that for most teams. Take out the quarterback, and pretty much almost all teams need that in every draft. So figure out number one, and I think the rest will fall in place. And of course, however Ballard drafts, again, I don't know how. I feel like he does a lot of smoke screens that even fans don't even know what's going to happen until it actually happens. But personally, with it being a deep wide receiver draft, I wouldn't put it all the way at the bottom. I would probably bump wide receiver up a little bit more. Get your quarterback of the future and then get him some weapons. Especially if you are leaning towards one of those more athletic quarterbacks. Offensive tackle can kind of move down a little bit with the athleticism, being able to move around the pocket. But again, that it all depends on what goes on with number one. But I guess I agree with that list. Are we talking about who we think they're going to get, or just
Yeah,
that list?
just that list. We'll,
Okay.
we'll get there. Here soon.
I guess I agree with it.
Yeah, so yeah, we are going to be talking about the first. I mean, there's 7 rounds that could take us almost an hour. So we'll just talk about the top 3, the first 3 rounds of the Colts draft. But on the Texans fan battle last Thursday, we had a draft expert from the HBCU on Bill Carroll, and he agrees with me. This draft is probably one of the most skillful drafts when it comes to positional players since probably 2011. Like 2011 was such a great draft. I mean, you had J.J. Watt, Von Miller. Like, it was just so awesome. So you're our guest tonight, already. So I'm going to start with you. Number 1, who are you taking at 4? Who are you taking in the first round?
So if I went, obviously, depending on what happens with 1 or 2, right? Because there's some smoke screens at number 1. If somehow, the Panthers don't take Young or Stroud, that would be my pick at 4, right? It should be Young or Stroud. I've heard they could take somebody else. I've heard that they could do something crazy. If it comes down to 4 and they get Younger, and the options are only Levis and Richardson, personally, I'm either taking Will Anderson or I'm trading down. So I'm operating under the influence that neither of those first 2 guys will be there. So I think I'll take Will Anderson because I'm not a fan of either Stroud or Richardson.
You mean Levis or Richardson?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of either one. I never have been, never will be through the combines, through the pros, for the throw pro, whatever the hell you want to call it. Nothing about either of those 2 has impressed me. That's awesome that Anthony Richardson could throw the ball 6 million yards. The guy can't even complete a 5-yard drag route. So I'm out on him. I'm just operating under the assumption that I have, those are my only 2 options. So I have 2 options. I trade down or I take Will Anderson and we shit the bed and we go get our quarterback next year. So I will draft down. I will take Will Anderson and secure that other side of the edge.
So,
actually, I think I'll come back around and I have a surprise pick that I actually would prefer.
You're right. Like, it all depends on what Carolina does, right? Because each week is something different. Like, 1 week they were all in for Anthony Richardson, reports were saying. Then the next week is C.J. Stroud, and now apparently they're going after Bryce Young. So it's like I think they're trying to pull the shades over us and give us a kiss on the cheek, but we all know what's happening. It's either C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. So all right, second round, who you going?
Second round, this is where I would take my quarterback because this is my thinking.
Oh, okay.
You could take this guy. It might not work out, and that's okay because then you can get a top pick next year and go get your guy, right? I'm going to take Hendon Hooker in this second round.
All right. I mean, he fits your bill, right? The oldest quarterback in the draft.
Oldest quarterback in the draft, coming off of an injury. Right. Get you the clear path to shit the bed. So
perfect Colts material.
Right. All right, man. So third round, who you taking?
You need a wide receiver. I think at this point I saw Cedric Tillman as an option. But one guy I really like is Kayshon Boutte.
His stock is really falling, so I mean he could be there in the third round.
So if Kayshon Boutte is there, that's who I'm taking in that third round.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll kick it off to you, Mr. Morocco Taylor. If you're the Colts, who are you taking in the first, second, and third?
First, second, and third. In their first round, Harris, he brought up a good point about what Carolina does. I mean, it's going to boil down to that. But quarterback wise, if CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are gone, I would not be opposed to taking Will. Like Harris said, I mean, in that situation right there, you got to go for the best player on the board.
Yep.
And, you know, even though I say they need to go get their guy this year, well, I mean, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, those are the guys. Everybody else, I mean, it is a straight up crapshoot that I would not take at 4. So go ahead and wait to the second round. Or if you feel like Hendon Hooker isn't going to be there in the second round, go ahead, trade up with the team and go get them. You'll have, the 5th-year option with them if you get them in the first round. Second round, depending on with the Colts offensive tackle, it'll be some offensive tackles there. I can't think of them right off the top of my head, but I feel like it'll be some offensive tackles there for them in the second round. So, I mean, if they don't end up trading up, they can get their offensive tackle. And the third round cornerback, I really don't know a lot of these guys. I can't tell you, but I know that it's going to be some cornerbacks there as well. Like I said, I can't get the names out right now, but yeah, I mean there'll still be good players there for the Colts that could come in day one and help them get back on track.
All right. Well, guys, it's Easter Sunday, and we've been blessed with the miracle. We have another guest on the show. We got Mr. Crenshaw from the Texas Fan Battle. Crenshaw, we're talking the Colts draft. First 3 rounds. Who are you taking at number 1, 2, and 3? If you are Mr. I forgot what's Potato Head's name. Reese.
Chris Ballard.
Chris Ballard. There you go. If you're Chris Ballard, who are you taking?
I'm going with a quarterback first, either Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. I got to get another wide receiver to help the other guy. I can think his name right now. What's the other receiver name over there from USC?
Michael Pittman.
Yeah, Michael Pittman. I need another guy to help him. And then I think I want to go running back because they didn't beat I can't think of the other running back name right now. Beat him to the ground, and he needs some help. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor. They didn't beat him to the ground. I think he needed a running back. I mean, the 3rd pick might be too high. You might get one later, but I still think you need a solid running back to help him out. And I think they need to go all offense. The defense is pretty good. Just go all offense and compete in the AFC South. The division's there to take for any team, Jags, Texans, or Titans. So that's what they should do.
We all do suck. So
yeah, we all suck. So might as well do that.
That's a pretty pretty wild suggestion.
Yeah.
They didn't re-sign none of their old running backs, right? Like Brooks is gone. What's his face got traded to the Bills last year, so it's just Jonathan Taylor, right?
Yeah, I think so, and they're gonna beat him to the ground. So you might well get another running back right now while you can.
Oh, I think you got Zach Moss from that trade.
Moss. Yeah, you got Zach Moss from that trade. He'll be okay, but again, to your point, the running back room is deep this year. If you lucked out, right? This is a very, very lucky luck out. You can get like Deuce Vaughn in the 3rd or 4th.
Oh, dude, they're talking 6th round. They're talking him going. Yeah, they're talking
5th at least.
They're talking Jordan Reed from ESPN has the Texans picking him at 203, which I would love. I would love to get Deuce Vaughn.
Well, Deuce Vaughn is that Naheem Hines, right? But now you have a Shane Steichen that knows how to use him, not some dumbass like Frank Reich who didn't use him at all. So you've got Steichen. Steichen uses his running backs. I mean, he made Miles Turner a freaking Hall of Famer last year, and that's why he got paid by Carolina. So you got an opportunity there. So I think if Deuce Vaughn is there in the third or fourth round, why not? You've got a couple third round picks, you got a couple of fourth round picks. So I don't see why not.
All right, Matt, you're Chris Ballard. First 3 rounds. What you got?
So interesting. I thought I was going to be unique and have these fantastic, great ideas and be smarter than everyone else in the room. But actually, mine is very identical to Harish. Mine's very identical to Harish. So with the quarterbacks, I think Bryce Young's going to be the first one to go, and then CJ Stroud. But and I think those are going to be surefire quarterbacks in the NFL. Are they going to be like all stars? I think they'll be decent quarterbacks in the NFL. Then after that, I think it's a crapshoot. Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. If the guy moves to tight end and running back, I think he'll be better off that way. I having come from Jacksonville, everyone's a freaking Gator fan. They had his quarterback coach on every single week, and they talk about him. The guy just isn't. He just doesn't have the head for it. He may have the athleticism, but it's just never going to happen. I watched a lot of his games last year. Anthony Richardson, he's just not a good quarterback. What I would do in the first round, ideally, if I were the Colts, trade down, get rid of the, get more draft capital, and go that way. But if you can't trade down, guess the best player in the draft as far as that isn't a quarterback. So Will Anderson. And I think that's what you said, Harish, right?
Yep.
Trade down. If that doesn't work, get Will Anderson. And then second round, if he's available, get Hendon Hooker. Again, second round, if you pick Richardson, you're going to be sitting him anyways. The guy is going to take a couple years just to be able to play on the NFL field. So take a flyer in the second round with Hendon Hooker, who I think he's good. And I think he'll be available in the second round, especially coming off that injury and his age. And then the third round, get a wide receiver for him. Who does that look like? I honestly would have no idea. I think I saw in one of these mock drafts was Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
They had him.
That's a good one.
They had him going in the third round to the Colts, be opposite of Paris Campbell. So
there's a lot of great receivers. You got Crenshaw's man, A.T. Perry, right? Isn't that how you say it? Out of Purdue. You got Andre Iosola, whatever, from Princeton. Like, there's a lot of good physical run receivers you can get in the later round. So this is the year to do it.
I have a question for Harish, though.
What's up?
If you don't get a quarterback in this draft at all, what do you do? You still have Ellinger, right, on the roster?
Who do you start? No,
Yeah.
you start. We start being Jaguars fans, and we go haywire over Minya.
Well, I think the problem there, wouldn't you win a few games? Whereas if you went with Ellinger, you'd lose a lot and get higher draft.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll go play quarterback, just to secure the bag.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as you do not lose as much games as the Browns, like we need the Browns to go 0-17.
Yeah. Hey, I think
we want Marvin Harrison Jr. in Houston next year, so we need.
Oh, see, that's the goal for us as well, is
right.
to figure that out. So
also,
we need to get that.
Is there anything to the rumors of the Lamar Jackson going there at all?
No, I don't think. I hope not. That's another guy I'm just not a fan of. But I'm hoping that them getting OBJ today kind of helps settle Lamar Jackson and he re-signs. I feel like that's a last effort ditch to keep him. Also, I feel like if Lamar Jackson was going to get traded, it would have already happened. But then again, there's that whole thing with after the draft, right? Just to see how things play out, and maybe that's when a team probably makes a move. So he either gets moved during or after the draft, is my opinion, if he gets moved at all.
All right. Well, I know I see VT over there shaking his head every time Matt was saying some bad things about Anthony Richardson. So you know you're about to get it. So BT, go ahead. So
First of all, I am Anthony Richardson hype man, so
Oh God,
you're 100% wrong.
help us all.
You're 100% wrong by thinking that he doesn't have it between the shoulders, man. This dude finished high school early just so he could actually be in the offseason program. He is dedicated to football and he's actually got the smarts. The issue is that when he wanted to be in the offseason program, COVID hit. And so his chances of actually getting trained during that time were kaput. Then when he actually got there, Mullen didn't give him the time of day. He was a third string quarterback. And when he actually did have chances, he had some more unlucky events happen. He got a concussion once. He hurt himself dancing once, and then he hurt his hamstring. And so he never really got the chance. He never really had any sort of quarterback coach to actually help him with his mechanics. If you see him, you can actually see that he can fake out safeties. He knows how to direct them with his eyes. That's not something you can do if you don't have the brains to do this shit. The problem with him is that he's been playing a certain way for so long that his mechanics are improper. And he knows this. He's actually admitted this. Like we had Bill Carolina and he was saying that he can identify what his problems are. Now, can they be fixed? Well, that's the $1 million question. That's why he's a boomer bust prospect. But to say this kid is a big dummy is just ridiculous. The dude just needs time and a little bit of patience in the NFL. And sure, he won't be who we want him to be in 2 or 3 years from now. And I know a lot of people don't like the comparisons to Josh Allen, but he really does remind me of Josh Allen in so many ways with the inaccuracy, the mechanic issues. What did Josh Allen get? He got James Palmer to help him out, and they got Stephon Diggs. Those two things helped him be who he is today. But he was in that 55, 56% accuracy. He had mechanic issues. So I think a lot of people are simply going in the reverse direction of hype with Anthony Richardson. So some people, jumped on the hype train with the combine and they didn't really think of him much before that. And then the people are being just contrarians because they don't believe that Anthony Richardson can actually be somebody. But
I will say real quick, I was never on the Anthony Richardson hype train. I literally sat at the station and waved at the train goodbye as people were jumping on. So I've never been on that. The other thing is everybody went through COVID. That's not a one-off thing, right?
Yeah.
That is now something everybody went through for 2 years, right? Yeah. You said concussion, fine, whatever. He hurt himself dancing.
He's injury
All that
prone.
tells me is that he's irresponsible. He's not willing to that's basically Andrew Luck. Like, oh yeah, I hurt myself skiing, but I didn't tell anybody, right? Like, I love Andrew Luck. I thought Andrew Luck was great, but that was irresponsible. And then to me, again, leading the safety is great, but when you have 56% accuracy, that just tells me you are not accurate with the ball. And that is the number one thing that Stain Steichen says he wants in a quarterback. People gave Jalen Hurts a lot of crap, but Jalen Hurts was actually a very good college quarterback. He was pretty accurate. He had a lot of success in college. We're basically saying that Anthony Richardson should be drafted higher than Jalen Hurts was, and he has all these issues and excuses that we can give. And he didn't have a quarterback coach, right? So I don't know. To me, it's just a bunch of excuses. I'm just not buying.
I mean, the one thing you have to remember here is because of his athleticism that he's going to develop. And during the first couple of years while he's developing to be a passer, what's going to happen is he can actually keep the ball moving because of his legs, because of his athleticism. So, yes, will he take a couple of years to develop as a passer? But that doesn't mean that you won't be able to move the ball. That doesn't mean you won't be a competent offense. So, what happened with Justin Hurts? Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts wasn't that great of a passer in his first couple of years in the NFL. But they made the offense work with his athleticism. And so, writing Anthony Richardson off because he isn't who you want him to be today is only going to bite you in the ass a couple of years from now. And frankly, I hope your franchise is thinking like you because I don't want him in the AFC South. I don't want to have to go through. So I'm hoping and praying that your franchise thinks exactly like you and you end up with Hooker, who, in my opinion, may have a huge problem because he was a system quarterback. His backup quarterback did as well as he did. He had 0 interceptions. His backup quarterback had 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, did as well as Hendon Hooker did, had almost 1,000 yards for the amount of games that he played. And the thing about it is Hendon Hooker was in a simplified offense. He was not in a pro-style offense, and he's coming off an injury, and he's old. So you've got those three things going for you, which is prime Colts meat. I get it. That's definitely
That's what we like.
from a Colts quarterback.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to be competent, Hendon Hooker ain't it.
No, I never said he was. And I said, hey, if we're going to shit the bed and Levis and Richardson are not the guy, give me Hooker. At least we can shit the bed with somebody that's younger than 38 and then go get our guy next year. I was very clear about that.
I will say this, though. If any coach can improve Anthony Richardson pretty quickly, I think it's Shane Steichen. It's him. But, all right, BT. Chris Ballard, 1, 2, and 3. Who you got?
All right. So you talking to me or Crenshaw?
BT, you.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
who I think they actually are going to draft, I think they are going to take a quarterback at 4. I think that it's either going to be Richardson or Levis for them if they're smart. I mean, like, listen, no one knows what the drug situation is there in Indy. So, that may not happen. But if they're smart, they're going to take a quarterback at 4. I think that, believe it or not, like if I stop joking and be serious for a moment, the 4 quarterbacks that we're talking about, frankly, they can all succeed if they're in the right situation. And the Colts actually have a great coach now. And the thing is, you can take advantage of that. You can take a quarterback that isn't necessarily the best in college, whether that's Levis or Richardson, and make something of themselves, right? Similar to the Texans. The Texans weren't set up really to take a quarterback. One of the reasons why Mills fails, beyond just being a bad quarterback. And now we are set up. In the same way, I think that from a coaching standpoint, you can say the Colts can be set up that way with Steichen. So at this point, they really have to determine 2 quarterbacks are gone. Who's the better of the 2? Is it Richardson? Is it Levis? And
I don't think it's going to be Levis because he puts Mayo in his copy, and the Titans are going to move up to 3 to snag him. So I don't think Levis is going to be there at 4.
I don't know. I mean, do the Colts like bananas? Because he's bananas.
Right.
Listen, he puts Mayo in his coffee. He's automatically out. We don't
Right.
I do think that you'll get a corner at the second pick. I think that makes a lot of sense. Whether that's Ringo makes a lot of sense to me right there, but I can also see you taking Forbes, depending if
Forbes ain't better. Yeah,
so I can see you doing that. Now, at the 3rd pick, you want a receiver. You could take Butte, but I think he might actually drop to the 5th. I think you could go. I think you go with Tillman there if he's still around. He's an option. So, and another guy that no one's getting any love with, honestly, is Marvin Mims. Like, why are we not talking about him? Because he's a prime aspect right there in the 3rd round that you guys could take. So, with your first 3 picks, I think that's how you should go. It's quarterback, depending on who's there, Richardson, Levis, corner, Ringo, Forbes, and then receiver, like I'm saying, I think Mims should be your guy. Butte also is not a bad option if you want to take that big of a risk. I'd rather not take the risk on Butte, frankly.
Yeah. I think when you talk corner, the guy I'm really liking is Eli Ricks from Alabama. I think he could be there in the 3rd round. That would be somebody I'd be very, very interested in. Eli Ricks. I like Marvin Mims, right? A guy that, I've watched Marvin his entire college career because I watched the Big 12. So, and he's very good. He was not complimented last year with bad quarterback play, but he also had an issue on the field of giving up a lot. And I think that's what hurt his draft stock. He's an excellent athlete. A guy can go get the ball anywhere. He's got the size, he's got the height, he's got the speed. But mentally, is he there? Definitely not. I'm not sure, and I think that's what's hurting his stock right now.
All right. So, Hurries, you got some pretty good intel from these guys. So, you like it? Trash it? Are you excited? What's the basis after hearing all these mock drafts?
I mean, I'm the smartest one here, so there's really nobody that can give me better intel than myself. I'm kidding. No, it's always good to get differentiating opinions, right?
Especially from the outside looking in, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, we all know. I mean, we all joke around with each other and talk trash about each other's teams, but at the end of the day, we're all football fans, right? So we all have different perspectives. We look at the game differently. We look at our teams differently. Right, and we all do it without being brain dead in the brain and trading the number one pick for Devontae Adams, right? So we do a lot of
or for DJ Moore and 9,000 picks like the Patriots.
Yeah. I'm not saying I didn't want to do that, but I was always a fan of doing whatever you can to get to number one because in my opinion is Chris Ballard. He is on his last opportunity. So to me, if I was Chris Ballard, it's like, well, if it fails here, I'm not responsible for the future, right?
You're going out B.O.B. style, huh? You're going out B.O.B. style, huh? Yeah, set the flame to it.
That's kind of how I would do it. But in other words, if he does fail, he didn't screw us over in the process. So I guess I give him credit for that. But no, I think a lot of good discussion here. Does it screw my pick? Not really. Because I'm a CJ Stroud stan, so if there's somehow he gets there at 4, if Stroud is there at 3, then I think you trade up, right? If something happens, something wild happens, and he's there at 3, or Young, right? I mean, you've got to take your opportunity. Is it going to happen? I doubt it, but I think that number one pick is going to be very, very important. And we have seen some wild number one picks, so I wouldn't count it out.
I mean, there is a slight possibility, right? Because you can have the Panthers that still shock everyone, get AR, we go Bryce, and then Stroud's there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So hey, I mean, again,
or we go Will Anderson. Yeah, there's tons of stuff that can happen.
Or Carolina's like, you know what? We don't want our quarterback. We're going to suck again anyway, so go get Will Anderson at 1. Like, I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities that can happen.
I did say that it's kind of good getting the guys from the division, but then yet the division sucks. So what we know, all of our teams don't help us, help out anything. So, all right, guys, man, this was a great draft talk for the Colts. Next week, we got the Mayo eating team in the house, the kissing cousin team in the house. At the number 11 pick next week, we'll have Titans commentator Morocco. You gonna have that Miracle Whip ready for you?
No. But if I'm able to be around, what I will have is everything Titans. So, I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, there's so many, scenarios and, directions we can and need to go. But at the end of the day, man, just like I said with the Colts, I mean, no matter where you pick it, man, you just got to roll with the best player that's there.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, so next week you can catch us with the Titans. So, like my boy Crenshaw said all the time, this is the worst part of the show because it's the end. So let me kick it off. Haris, where we can find you on social media and what you got working. You're on mute there, buddy.
You can find me on social media everywhere at the Uncle Gandhi. Right now, I'm working with the guys here, which kind of send stuff up with the network. So, no special projects here right now. I do try to be a guest on. Obviously, I'm on this show fairly often, and then I try to be a guest on the Horseshoe Mob podcast. So definitely go check those guys out every Tuesday night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, Tuesday 9 Eastern. So check them out. So they'll probably be talking about the draft this week. So check them out. Morocco, tell us where we can find you and your hoodlum bunch.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can always find me in Tennessee Titans Elite. That's our Facebook group. I mean, I'm highly active there. You can also catch me on Twitter at MFK8. I know I can cuss on here, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get better at it, man. But You see the handle. That's where you can catch me at on Twitter. And thank y'all for having me here tonight, man.
Yeah, definitely need to come on next week. I would love to hear your Titans draft picks. All right, BT, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Brown Chubby Bear. Usually yelling at other Texans fans and letting them yell at me. It's a two-way street. You can find my articles at I have to get the website right now because we changed it. So let everyone know we changed the website, right? So it's fanbattlesports.com. My article's up there. There are a lot of people are writing now. Matt's writing, Morocco's writing. So check out fanbattlesports.com. If you're watching this on Facebook or listening to the audio podcast, check out the Texans Fan Battle YouTube channel. We have not only our podcast there, but we have other episodes. We just released our episode on the 15 sleepers that you want to know in this draft. Expert Bill Carroll, who's the director of scouting from MBS, really helped us out with that episode. So check them all out.
All right. My A1 since day one. Crenshaw, tell them where you find you at.
You can find me at Fifth Ward Crenshaw and VT. What's wrong with Bootay? You can tell me after the show.
All right, guys. You can find me at A1 Day One Texans. Like BT says, I got a couple articles up on the Fan Battle Sports Network, so make sure you check that out. And guys, make sure you tune in to these great podcasts that we have on this network and check out the others. You can find this podcast at Texas. I'm used to mine. You can find this one at AFC SFB. I hope I didn't murder it like Sam did. But guys, until next week, we'll see you again.
Are you ready for the fight? Nighty night, lights out, no Tyson. About to be the clash of the Titans. Strike like a lightning bolt. You feel the ground pounding, that might be the coast. Quick like a joke, like to hit when provoked. Don't you doubt that. That's a Jaguar, do it.